Good afternoon. My name is Luis Gamundi. I'm a second year student from Zamorano University, and today I will tell you about vertical farming. Basically, vertical farming is a way of production very different from conventional farming. Why? Because as the name says, you produce in a vertical way. You produce in different levels in which you may use the same products, but in levels. In that way, you could maximize the area that you have. For example, you don't need a big land to produce because you may have a small land, but in that land you produce a lot of products because you have it in levels. So they could be as big as you want to. Also, it's going to be very expensive because you are going to control the temperature, the amount of water that you are going to use. But in this way, for example, it's a way to help food security. Why? Because you reduce water waste, you maximize fertilizers, you may recycle that fertilizer. For example, hydroponic cultives in which you use the same water to feed, for example, fish, and then the trash of the fish you may use to fertilize plants. So I think it's a very good way of production. I really consider that vertical farming in the future they could be possible. Now there's like some prototype of farm that are using this way, but there's very difficult. Why? Because basically it is very expensive to have vertical farming, but I really believe it is a way to reduce waste and help environment. And near in the future, I believe we could make that. For example, the big countries like United States that have a lot of money, they now are trying to change from conventional to vertical farming, and I think that's a good way. Also, some countries of Europe make the same ways. For example, my country, Spain, there are some people, like small people, that produce in vertical farming, but in a lower way. They use, for example, hydroponic cultives. Also in Asia, Japan and China have the same systems. Why? Because they have a small land and they need to maximize their area. A way to do it is by vertical farming. I believe that vertical farming in the future could change the world and also be better than conventional farming. Why? Because basically in the future we are going to reduce the amount of land that we could use to produce. So we should change to vertical farming in order to could produce more. For the environment, I really think that vertical farming is the best solution compared with conventional farming. Why? Because basically, as I say, in vertical farming you reduce the water waste. Also, you control all environmental stuff inside of the greenhouse that you are going to produce, and also because for the impact for the environment is going to be less because you have every fertilizers and every machine that you use close it in a small place, so they are going to reduce the emissions of CO2, for example, or the contamination of fertilizers to the soil and that stuff. Talking about now in Zamorano, I think they could. I think that if they have like some guides or teachers about vertical farming, it will help. Why? Because these are going to be the technology of the future. So in the future, we should know about this. Because imagine you have a work and we're supposed to know everything of agronomy or a lot of things. In order us to success, it's going to be good to have some class of they have like to speak of something about vertical farming. Also, Zamorano want to be more green, please. Sorry. For example, with solar panels and every stuff, vertical farming is another way to help the environment. Also, I think it could reduce the waste of water that we use. That is very much, but it's a way. Nowadays, I think that people think more about money than saving the environment. I know all people want to have money and the environment is not so important, but in order to us to succeed, I think we need to work together with the environment. Why? Because the environment provides us all what we need to live. So if we kill the environment, eventually we are going to die too. And also, if we are continue pushing too much the environment in one time, we are going to not be able to produce more in the land because there are going to be no fertile. So we should change to green ways, for example, vertical farming. Thanks for everything.